Hi, everybody. Good evening and welcome to this Saturday night paint session. I wasn't necessarily planning to do a Saturday night paint session, but it just turned out to be a good time. And because I normally do morning paint sessions during the week, I was kind of interested to see what the result would be in doing one during a weeknight or a weekday night. So I thought we would just keep it kind of simple tonight and just keep it relaxed and easygoing. And I thought maybe we would just kind of do more of an ethereal mixed media sort of painting. So I have my little piece of paper here to do some swatches. I am going to be using this palette that I have just kind of random stuff in, most of which is from Artistic Isle Watercolor. I don't know that these are in stock anymore or not, but one of my favorites that I bought from, the woman's name is Lindsay that owns it, but Lindsay from Artistic Isle, is this one called Cassell Brown. And the reason I love it is because it just has this beautiful gritty quality to it. I'm going to show it to you up close so you can see it here. There we go. And I just love these little bits of grit in there. And the way it dries down is just really pretty. And I feel like it really gives, especially landscapes, a really earthy feel to it. So I was thinking about maybe using that and kind of thinking maybe something brown. These two are also ones that I have done before or purchased before from Artistic Isle Watercolors. I don't recall their names, and I'm not sure again that they really sell these particular ones anymore. But let's take a peek and see what this one looks like. You don't have to use the exact same ones. Just find whatever color is closest and use that. This one is more bronze, which is pretty too. And let's see this one. Yeah, that one's going to be too orangey. I want to keep it more within the cool tones. So I might try some of the brown tones in my Winsor & Newton palette. I would normally go for something like Van Dyke Brown or Sepia from Daniel Smith, but I'm trying to really do a variety of different ones because I recognize that not everybody uses Daniel Smith watercolors. So let's see here. This one is, Van Dyke Brown. And this one's from Winsor & Newton. This one's probably a little warmer than I would like. And let's try the next one, which is Burnt Umber. Is probably also going to be a little too warm for this one. And that is the case. And I don't really think I have any others. Let me try. Let me see what this one is. This one is that another Van Dyke Brown? I think that's another Van Dyke Brown. It must have come with two. So I don't have anything in here. Let me put in some Van Dyke Brown from here because, well, this might just be the one that I need. Look at the difference between the Van Dyke Brown from Winsor & Newton and the Van Dyke Brown from Daniel Smith. So we're going to do the Van Dyke Brown from Daniel Smith and this one from Artistic Isle called Cassell Brown. And I'm just going to put some of this right over here. And this is going to be a mixed media. So I'm not going to just be using watercolor, but I did want to at least swatch some of this first. Not sure what is going to be the other media. It's going to be some form of either acrylic paint or inks of some sort, maybe some foil. Haven't really decided yet, but you know, I'm looking at this one, Let me hold this up closer for you to see. I'm looking at this one and I'm really liking how this separated into this bronze shimmer on the top, but with this kind of cooler tone brown at the bottom. So I don't know, maybe we'll use something like that. But before we get started, normally what I like to do when I do these lives during the weekday mornings is ask where in the world you are joining me from tonight. So drop a comment and let me know what part of the world you're joining me from. I am in Northeast Florida, and that is where I have been for the majority of my life. So let me know, where are you from? Let's see. I see a lot of you are joining. I am not seeing any comments come through just yet. Let me know where you're joining me from. Do we have anybody joining from outside the United States? Let me know what country, or if you are within the United States, where you're joining from in the United States. I'm on Eastern Standard Time, or actually, what is it? We're on Daylight Savings Time now, so it is about 7:30 in the evening. Leave a comment. Let me know where you're joining me from. Some of you are a bit shy, it looks like. So feel free to leave me a comment, and we're going to go ahead and get started. And I will try to check the comments in between. So what we're doing here is a mixed media painting. It's going to be an abstract. And I think for tonight, I kind of just want to work into some maybe circles or something along those lines. So what I'm going to start off with is using this Master's Touch Script Liner number 3. And I'm going to just get that wet and put it into that Van Dyke Brown like this. And I'm going to start by just holding the tip of the brush like this, because I don't want it to be a perfect circle, but I'm going to kind of just make the indication of a circle like this. And then I'm going to get some more water and some more Van Dyke Brown. I'm going to start in a different spot and then do another one like this. And we'll do one more, but this time I might try to keep it relatively dark and kind of break up the lines a bit. And again, we're just keeping it loose. Again, if you're just joining, leave a comment. Let me know where you're joining from. Normally when I do these during the mornings during the week, I also ask if you're drinking coffee, tea, what kind of morning beverage, but it is not morning and I am not drinking coffee. I am drinking water. All right, so this is kind of a good start. And what I'm going to do is kind of let this dry mostly, but I want to get a little bit of texture in here. So I'm going to take this spray bottle and I'm going to start by spraying just maybe above here like this a couple times. That way we can try to get some of this moving into some interesting directions. I'm going to show you what that looks like. I didn't really move as much as I wanted, so I'm going to hold it closer and to the side like this. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Do that again there. And I might do another one right here, but instead of going from here to here, I'm going to go this direction. There. All right. So this is just kind of a base that we're working on, and I'm liking the way that this is going so far. And let's see here, I might bring in some Bombay Sepia India ink. I would love it if someone would comment and let me know where you are joining from. Seems like the evening crowd is a bit shy. I am in Northeast Florida in the United States. Let's see. Hi, Shell. Thanks for joining. Hi, Mosey. Thanks for joining. Sandra Bryant, thanks for joining. And Pam's Creations. Yay, we have somebody, Cisco Kid from Los Luans, New Mexico. Watching from North Carolina is Charlotte Bowie. Thank you so much. I love actually interacting with the people that are watching, so I really appreciate when you all comment. K.E. O'Keefe from Oregon. Wow, Oregon. That is a place I've always wanted to visit, and it is somewhere that I plan to do that someday in the fall time because I hear it's absolutely beautiful. Beth from Pennsylvania, thank you so much for commenting and being here and spending your time with me. I really appreciate it. Simply Sylvania from Albany, New York. Thank you so much. All right. So now the next thing I'm going to do is start by taking some of this Sepia India ink. Arkansas from Rob's Chaotic Art. Rob, thank you so much for joining me this evening. I recognize you from yesterday's live. I wasn't planning to do a live tonight, but I had some time and decided I wanted to see what the evening crowd was like. Tori from the Smoky Mountains of North Carolina. Amazing. I love the mountains. All right, so let's take this India ink. And what I'm going to do is kind of drag some of it through some of that water and really define a little bit more of this here. And then while that's still wet, I'm going to take, where is my, here we go. I'm going to take this 1/2 inch Princeton Select Oval Mop brush, get it wet, and I'm going to just add a little bit more watery areas here. And let's do some in and maybe out on this side to kind of balance it out a bit. There we go. Now I lost a little bit of depth in there. So what I'm going to do reminds me of the symbolism in The Arrival. I've never heard of The Arrival. What is that? Is that a show or a movie? I would love to know a little bit more about that. My husband is a big movie and show watcher. And actually, that's part of why I'm also doing this tonight, because he is currently at the theater with some of his friends watching some movie that just came out that I can't remember the name of, that apparently, I don't know if it was a show or a game or something that apparently is really good. I'd recognize the name if I heard it. An alien movie that's really good. Okay, very cool. I am not much of a movie or show watcher. I should be, but I'm not. And my husband is very, very much a sci-fi show watcher. He takes turns watching shows with the kids at night during the week. We have 4 kids, so we try to spend time individually with them. And of course, I'm the art time with them, and he's the movie/TV show time with them. No, it's simply Silvana. It's not, you know what? Maybe it is Project Hail Mary. That sounds familiar. Maybe. I wish I could remember. Definitely just like The Arrival, just know the movie isn't shot in a linear timeline. Huh. Yeah, it might be. I think it is Project Hail Mary. I feel like that sounds like what he said. I promise I listened to him. But yeah, so he watches a lot of sci-fis and stuff with our kids, and you know, they're age appropriate and whatnot, depending on what it is that what he thinks they can handle. So yeah, Janine's Jewelry. If Project Hail Mary just came out, then that's what he's watching tonight with his guy friends. I think that's what he went to see. And so Anyway, I forget where I was going with that, but that's part of the reason why I decided to join tonight. The kids all had friends over earlier today. They had a great time, and now they're all kind of just winding down for the evening, having some tablet time and TV time and all that stuff. So I was like, you know what? Everybody's doing their own thing. I'm going to get in here and see what the evening crowd is like on TikTok with this. Oh, and I actually have some big news for you guys. I had mentioned yesterday that actually maybe I mentioned it in a DM to somebody that had messaged me. I honestly don't remember. I feel like I do so much every single day that it all just kind of blurs together. So just go with me here. For the longest time, I have had a website, and my website has just kind of been a jumble of whatever it is I'm working on. And I have never been able to cohesively bring together all of the art that I do in a way that makes sense as a business. And so everything's kind of just been a hobby. And so the main things that I've done over the last couple of years have been surface design and lathe work, like woodwork and, turning things on a lathe. And doing resin. So you've probably seen some of that in my past stuff that I've posted on TikTok. So I never really had a rhyme or reason for anything, and nothing was really cohesively put together on my site. And so I had some people asking what the exact tools were that I was using, if there were going to be replays that people could watch, and so on and so forth. And I own a business that has nothing to do with any of this. I happened to be looking for something on my computer, and I came across a WordPress theme that I had from back in 2018, when I had closed my portrait photography studio and wasn't quite sure what was next, and was still doing all of this artsy stuff. And I had like crochet and Cricut and drawing and painting and all this other stuff. I was like, you know what? That's what I should do with my website. So I started taking some time earlier today and putting together a website that basically mimics that other site. I'm not on WordPress anymore. I'm on Squarespace. And so now I am putting something together so that you all can watch these replays and see the supply lists and stuff like that, so that you can rewatch these when you want. So that will be very helpful for all of you. And I hope that you're excited about that. Now, most of you that are joining me tonight are probably not the typical crowd that watches me in the mornings during the week. So maybe that's not as exciting to you. But anyway, just thought I'd let you know that. All right, so this is taking a little longer to dry than I had hoped. So I'm just going to shoot this with my heat gun. And this is the point where I warn you that it's going to be loud for a minute, so you can turn your volume down. And I will be back in just a moment. All right, I think that's good enough for now. Some of it's still wet, and that's okay, but I wanted to get some of these major areas dried up because I liked some of the texture that we were seeing in it. So I had mentioned last week in one of the lives that I liked to use a cup to make some circular patterns sometimes in this work. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. And before I actually put any marks down, I want to show you this area of the India ink is wet. So I'm going to take this and actually just put the edge of this cup in here like that. And I'm just going to turn it and wiggle a little bit. And you can see what it's done with that there. And then I'm going to take my India ink and I'm going to just kind of dab the edges with the ink. Now, some of it may end up being more concentrated than others, and that's okay. All right, so then what I'll do is kind of offset that from what we just did and just stamp it down. And I'm going to hold it there for a second just so gravity can do its thing to really push it down and let it do its thing. Oh, I think somebody just sent me a rose. Thank you. That is so sweet. Thank you. I honestly don't know what any of that stuff means, but I think the more roses you get, I think I get some sort of like pennies or something. Like, I think it equates to pennies of some sort. I don't know. There we go. Look at that. What? Okay. So love this. Love this a lot. This is looking amazing. Okay. I would normally do this one more time right here, but I think I want this to fully dry first because I don't want to mess this up. In the meantime, let's go back to that other palette that I was using with the colors from, where did I put it? Here it is. From Artistic Isle, this one, the Cassell Brown right here. And what I'm going to do is go in with that mop brush again, and I'm going to load the brush with a heavy amount of that pigment. This particular pigment, because it has so much grain in it, does not hold a lot on the brush itself. So it can be a little bit more challenging. But what I'm going to do is kind of just start to add some texture in here in the form of these dots. Kind of feel like it almost looks like a pine cone now. Let's see. What I don't want is for it to look like a pine cone. Maybe if we give it a little more of a painterly swoosh, it won't look so pine coney. And once this is all kind of more dry than this, I want to add some more of this so you can see the separation. Let me show this to you, the separation that it does here, like on this swatch, because I think this is really what makes it such a great watercolor pan, because it's got this grainy darkness here and it separates out into this lighter tone here, which is just really beautiful. So that's why I really love this one. And so while we are waiting and waiting and waiting, I will take some comments or questions while this is continuing to dry a little bit before we continue. So let's do another question round. Does anybody, number one, have any questions or comments about this? And number two, if you don't, how about you tell me, what's your favorite movie right now? I don't know much about movies, but I'd love to hear more. Let's see. I think I might have something stuck here. Let me see. There we go. Rosalind Hiller, welcome. Thank you for joining. Let's see here. Marilyn Schultz, thank you for joining. Jen says, I haven't watched any movies in a while. Jen, you know what I usually watch when I want to unwind is The Office. I adore The Office. I've watched it for like, I don't know if 2 decades is like even accurate, but I feel like 2 decades is accurate. Friends used to always be like my go-to since like 2000. And then like, I don't know when it changed to The Office, but it changed to The Office and I just can't get enough. So that's my happy place is The Office. And I kid you not, in the business that I run outside of art, I record a podcast. And there are so many times where I have to literally try so hard to not say, that's what she said, like Michael Scott. And I end up texting my friend afterwards, my best friend, and I'm always like, it was so hard. That's what she said. I'm such a dork, I know. But I'm glad you're laughing with me. Oh, yeah. And then last night, my husband and I started watching Modern Family over again. And I feel like now that my kids are older, I relate to it so much more. It's hysterical. So anyway, yeah, that's what I've got going on around here anyway. Let's see. Okay, this area is looking like it is dry now. So we're going to go ahead and add another little circle. And I'm going to kind of break this up a little bit by adding ink to some areas and not others. Okay. Let's see here. I watched the first half of Men last night with Jessie Buckley. It was beautiful but freaky. Is that a movie or is that a show? And if it's on one of the streaming services, which one is it on? All right, so I push that one down like this. Oh yeah, Parks and Rec. I watched that one for the first time last year. Loved it. All right, now I'm going to pull this one up. There we go. I got some of that on my hand. There we go. Yeah, Parks and Rec was hilarious. And I never really knew who Chris Pratt was until I watched that. And now I have total respect for him. Not that I didn't before, it's just I didn't understand what the big deal was. And now I get it. I really just want this to dry. So I'm going to turn on my heat gun one more time. And this is the part, again, where I tell you to turn down your volume so you don't have to listen to this thing. Here we go. All right, I think I'm just getting extra impatient, so I'm going to just take a paper towel and blot those up a bit. All right, there. I think I'm happy again. Let me see and make sure that one's done too. Okay, really quick, I just wanted to go back in the comments a little bit and shout out Katie D, who said, yes, it's a movie. You should all watch the trailer. And then I got a system notice that says some comments in this live were filtered to protect the community's experience. I do not know what comment was made. So if it wasn't something that like if it was about a movie or about something, I promise I'm not the one that filtered that. I don't even know how to do that. So um, let's see here. Jen says the heat gun is actually not so loud. Okay, that's good to know. I had worn my headphones when I did this on Sunday night, this past Sunday night, and I think it just made it sound really loud with my headphones for whatever reason when I listened to it back. So anyways, all right. So now that that's dry and we've gotten to this point, let's do a bit with that Cassell Brown watercolor here. Because I just want to add a little bit of interest. And I'm going to, I think, leave it pretty light. And I love this white space, so I don't want to do too much. But what I do want to do is add some clouding, I think, like this. And again, I'm going to bring this in close so you can see. Do you see the greens that are floating in that? It just is so pretty, and I really love it. And just add a little bit here. I tend to like things that come to more of a point, I think. There. I might even add a little bit of a splatter of it. Okay. I don't want to go too far with it. I had plans of using this Van Dyke brown more, but you know what? I am happy with the way that this is going. So I'm not going to push it with that. I'm going to move this off to the side for now. And I think now is when I would like to start bringing in some more marks. Like usually I like to take my India ink and make some like black dots. So let's take this. And I think what I'll do is put maybe some like little marks like this here. I don't know why these are like my favorite things to put in mixed media paintings. I do it way more than I probably should. And I might kind of add some circles in these just to pull them out of this area a little bit more. Okay. Maybe some, let's see if I can get it to splatter from that. A little bit of splatter. There we go. Maybe a little splatter over here. There we go. What do you all think of the ink? Do you like the ink? Do you think it adds definition that looks good? I do. I love it. Okay, so this is also going to need a minute to dry, and then I think what we'll do is start to bring in some reflective material. And I haven't decided if I want to go down the rabbit trail of adhesive sizing and gold foiling, or if I want to bring in some of this acrylic bronze, iridescent bronze. I'm kind of leaning towards the adhesive sizing, even though it's messy and my fingers always get super sticky with it. But I really think that it brings a piece to life in a way that nothing else does. So I think we're going to have to go that route. What do you think? Daisy Everbright, you're here. It's nice to see you again. And somebody else said that too earlier when we first started working on this. I'm going to have to check it out because I have not heard of that before, but I'm glad that it's resonating with people. If you are enjoying this video, I would love it if you would share it or give it a heart. It means the world to me, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see, it is a wonderful movie, and this is a great piece. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate all of it. Man, you all are amazing. Oh my gosh, look at all these hearts just like popping up like crazy. Thank you so much. I was saying this yesterday, like, I don't usually ask for that sort of thing, but I'm finding that the only way to like grow my channel is to like ask for it. And like the way that you all have shown up for me is insane. And I feel like I really just get so I can feel my cheeks flush when I talk about it, but like I just feel so overwhelmed by how much support and love you all show when you show up here, and it just really fills my heart. And I am so grateful and thankful for all of you being here and watching these processes and just spending your time with me, because your time is so valuable, and it just means the world that you're willing to spend your time with me. So thank you so much for that. Yeah, thank you. See, you are showing up for us. I'm on my back relaxing, getting to go on this artistic voyage with you. And you know what? That's what I would normally be doing too. I'm like, I would normally just be laying on the couch while my kids are doing their own thing, watching TV, and just kind of, wasting my time on videos that don't even do anything for me. But like, if I could find stuff like this on TikTok or YouTube or something, although I feel like I've watched all the ones that have been on YouTube, then I would absolutely lay on the couch and watch it. But like all this stuff that I see that comes across on TikTok is usually garbage. And so I find myself just kind of endlessly scrolling, and it feels like such a waste of time. So why not do something productive that I enjoy and just kind of create a community that I can talk to and who enjoys talking back, But I've never really watched lives before. I have watched some lives, but usually it's people trying to sell me stuff, and I'm not fixing to try to do that to you all. Now, I'm not saying that like if a brand wants to say, hey, we're going to give this to you and we want you to use it in one of your lives, that I would say no. It would just depend on if I liked it. But like all of these tools are things that I've collected for years and years and years, and they're things that I've used for years. So anyway, Daisy Everbright, hook me up with some of those people. I would love to know who they are. Absolutely. Yeah. Nanny 6.0, thanks for the follow. That's very kind of you. All right, so this is still deciding it wants to dry. I'm going to go ahead and try to speed it up again with the heat gun. So hopefully it's not too loud for you. Give me just one more, maybe 30-second period. Ladybug, I don't know if you can hear me or not. Let me know if you can't. But I feel the same way. It's like every time I open TikTok, the first thing I see is somebody saying something about some sort of vitamin or skincare or hair care of some sort or supplement. And I'm just like, I don't care. Daisy, that sounds good. I'll have to take a look and see what you've posted. I think I follow you. I can't remember if I followed you back or not. I'll have to go back and look. Okay, good to know about the heat gun volume. Excellent. Okay, good. Yeah, because I'd love to sit here and talk while I do this, because it seems like, you know, I could just sit here and waste time watching it dry, or I could be talking and drying at the same time. So that's really good to know. I appreciate you letting me know so I can talk and dry. Now, some of these ink spots probably won't be completely dry, and that's okay, because sometimes the ink itself, if you try to dry it, it'll get too hot and it'll kind of crispify and bubble. And Ladybug, yes, I love watching cooking. Okay, we got to talk cooking for a second. I need to know, by a show of hands or hearts or whatever, who here loves Joshua Weissman. He is like, he is, I don't even know how to, he is someone who lives in infamy in our household. And my husband is always like, Sir Weissman, we love you. Joshua Weissman is like the person that has made me popular around here amongst my family and our cooking. Yeah. So Joshua Weissman is on YouTube. He has a huge following. I've followed him for a few years, and he has 2 cookbooks. And oh my gosh, you have to go look him up on YouTube. Joshua Weissman, Weissman. We have one thing. So he's got a couple of different things that he does on his channel. One is called But Better. Another is called But Cheaper. And so he'll do these But Betters. And he did one of the McChicken. And so now that's a staple on our rotation through our meal planning. And we call them McWeissmans. So on our little meal planning board, we put McWeissmans. It's funny. But yes, definitely look for him. He's incredible. And he's hilarious too. All right. So I'm thinking, because I really don't want to gum up one of my brushes, that I might use a pen and nib, even though I might regret it. Because this one's pretty sharp, but I like the fine lines that it gives me. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's like not wanting to focus. There it goes. So when you push on it, it separates like that, and that's how it disperses the ink that's on it. But the adhesive sizing is very sticky. Let me see if I have a brush I don't care about very much. I used to have some. Oh yeah, here we go. So I had this one that I left in some water for too long, and it just kind of cracked apart. It was really cheap though. I bought it on Amazon at some point. Oh yeah, look, it just flaked off. So we'll use this one. So I'm using this Speedball adhesive sizing for metal leafing. And I'm just going to take it and I'm going to start just adding some areas like this where I want some of the gold flakes to stick. Now, you don't want this to be super thick in areas, or else it will be gummy and we don't like gummy because even after it dries, it stays gummy, and the flaking will actually come off of it and it will still be gummy. And then anything you put on top of it, let's say you put this in a drawer with your other stuff, it will remain gummy, which is really irritating. So, all right, so let's maybe add some little bits here. And let's see. I do want to add some to some of these. All right, now I'm going to go over some of these darker lines here. And really what I'm looking for is just kind of making it almost look like a shimmer from maybe a line and an agate of some sort. I really like what happened here when I removed the water, so I don't want to take away from that. But do you see how there's this bloom going on right here? I might like to add some gold foil in kind of a rough shape around it just to kind of accent that. And then let's add some to these. Here we go. And let's see. We're going to do some more for this. This isn't the end of it. But I find it's difficult to figure out how to move forward until I kind of know where I'm going to be putting everything with the foil, because I can't see it until it's there. I think what I might like to do is take my ink and kind of maybe do some black lines to break up all the circles, but maybe I don't want to break up the circles. I don't know. What do you all think? Should I break up the circles a bit? Ladybug says, I'm new watching / following you. Do you follow a certain schedule for live so I can start? I'm so glad you asked that question. So I just started doing lives last week, and I'll actually tell you why I started, because I'm not shy about it. I have been part of the, thank you, Nanny. Okay, we won't break it up that way then. I have been part of the Amazon Associates program since 2010. Before I had kids, I had a blog, and I was trying to make some affiliate income from that just as a side thing. And it never really went anywhere, and I kind of forgot about it. And back in on Halloween, I lost my job. And to try to make ends meet, I was already starting a business. It was a tech company on the side. And that was maybe within 10 days of when I got laid off. And of course, any tech startup isn't profitable right away. And so this tech startup that I have is what I do during the week. And after I lost my job, I had to really step it up to get it launched and out the door so that it could be starting to be profitable. So I had some severance and we had some savings. And so we got through to the end of the year, and then I was able to launch it in January. And now I'm focused on like case studies and, building my audience and the podcast and all that stuff. And so while that's going on, I've been filling in as a substitute teacher. And there isn't always a job available for that. And now we're coming up on summertime, and I'm obviously not going to be able to substitute to earn anything over the summer. So my friend who is also a photographer, was telling me one day, hey, you know what? I got approved for the Amazon influencer program. So I get to do reviews on items for Amazon, and I get paid to do that every month. And she makes a decent amount, and it's basically the amount that we need every month to cover what I need in order to, do the subbing or whatever, so I can not sub. And so I was like, okay, well, I don't have a big enough following on Instagram, but I heard that with TikTok, it's a little easier to get. Daisy says substitutes can also tutor, and summer tutoring pays fairly well. Yes, and while that is true, I also have 4 kids that are home for the summer, and they have extracurriculars where they are constantly being shuttled back and forth, so it makes it a little difficult. But regardless, I mean, there's always a way. So, like I said, my friend said, hey, maybe you can get into the Amazon influencer program and help make up, the amount of money that you need. And it's not much. It's not that we are at a deficit every month, but it's not so much of a deficit that subbing, a handful of days a month doesn't make up for. So anyway, I thought, okay, well, let me try to grow my TikTok following and see what happens. Well, I was trying to grow my TikTok following and nothing was happening. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll just try to do more videos. But I didn't want to do more videos. I hate editing videos, and I was already doing some videos for my business. And so I just decided, you know what, let me just start doing art tutorials, because I really want to start doing art in the mornings again. Anyway, I am spread so thin with the business and my kids and just life in general that I really just need something that is outside of everything else, that gives me comfort and peace, that, it may lead to something someday. It may lead to nothing, but I get to talk to people. I get to create art. And if it benefits somebody else and it benefits me, then why not? So that's what I did. I started going live last Sunday, and usually I will take my kids to school. And then when I get home, I do my normal walk through the garden, because I grow my own food. And then, not that I don't go grocery shopping, but I start a garden every year. And so then I get my coffee and I sit down here to do this. So there isn't a set time. And so I would love to say, oh, I go live every morning at 8:30 or 8:40, and I go live for an hour, but I don't necessarily limit myself to a certain amount of time. There may be days that maybe I have a parent-teacher conference that I have to go to because our son has some special needs, or I might have a doctor's appointment, so I might have to cut it early, or just, something like that. So basically, to make a long story short, I don't have a specific day, commitment that I have made yet. However, I am working on my website right now to upload replays of these live videos that I do, so that if you miss one, you can always rewatch it on YouTube. So all of that information will eventually be over there. Yeah, Daisy. So I've also heard of Patreons, and I tried to do that years ago. So one of the things that I'm doing with the replays, I've had people DM me for supply lists. And so, of course, because I'm on the Amazon Associates, I can use those affiliate links. And if they purchase through my links, then I get a percentage of the sale. And so I'm putting all those on there, but I'm very clear, because I'm very transparent about the fact that these are affiliate links. But with that, I also say the day I last purchased that particular item, or if it was gifted to me, or if I hadn't purchased it, that I found it on Amazon and it seemed to have good reviews and you might consider checking it out. Like it's very, very obvious whether or not it's something I've purchased, but I noticed that a lot of my purchases were between 2018 and 2022. And that was the time that I was trying to do more with art and be somewhat of an art influencer, I guess. But it never really went anywhere. And it's not that I would say, no, I don't want it to go anywhere, but I think sometimes things fall into your lap and it's unexpected. And if I could make affiliate income, okay, that's fine. I would still love to be part of the Amazon influencer program so that I could make some extra cash every month to help make up for the deficit. The job market is absolutely awful. Every time I apply for a job, there are over 2,000 applicants on the ones that show like the number of applicants. I work in digital marketing. My business is with generative engine optimization. And so I do think that it is a really good business and it will be successful, but it's going to take time. And I'm really proud of what I've built. But in the meantime, I've got to do something. And so, I'm trying to diversify. I've also, I sell my surface pattern designs on Spoonflower. Some months are better than others, but the most I've ever earned in a month on there is $60. I also have some of my things for sale on Etsy, which has plummeted to basically nothing a month because Etsy is just all over the place all the time. And I think that's pretty much it. So I do diversify and I try. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Like I said, it's not a huge deficit, but it is a deficit nonetheless. I'll probably try to sell some things, that I have that are valuable on eBay or something just to try to get by over the summer and whatnot. But ideally, I would love another job. So Buffer, if you're listening, hire me. Anyway, okay. So enough about that. That is a very long backstory as to why I don't have a consistent schedule with this. So let's move on to the foil. I am going to take these little flakes of foil that I have and start sticking them in the areas that I have placed that adhesive sizing. And then I will use a brush to brush it off. That's actually one I was working on today when I was doing a supply list for one of the ones that we did. I think it was the Sunday night one last Sunday. And the brush that I use to brush this stuff off with is just an old makeup brush that I cut. And it's great. It works fine. I don't know that they even make the brush anymore. But they do have brushes for that. They're called gilding brushes on Amazon. And I found a pair of them that are like $6. They get good reviews. So on the supply list, I listed them. I used my affiliate link and I very specifically said, I do not own these, but they are cheap. They get good reviews. You may consider checking these out, because the last thing I want to do is sound salesy, because I don't want to be a salesman. But at the same time, like if you find value through something that I do and you decide you want to purchase something, it does help me if you purchase through my link. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that, especially because you're not paying anymore. Amazon is. So yeah. All right. So let's see here. Oh, thank you, Ladybug. I appreciate that. I like what I'm doing here too. It's just very meditative for me. And if I can put in a little extra work to make it, valuable to you, like, adding it to my website and to YouTube, and I don't have to edit the videos because I literally just will upload it to YouTube as it is recorded, then it's worth the time and effort. All right. I thought I felt something sticky here. Where is it? Okay. Let me just continue to pat around and make sure. Oh, there was one over there. Also, I do take requests. So If there is anything that any of you are ever interested in seeing, I am always happy to try to accommodate those requests. So let me know. You can always DM me. All right, so this is that brush I was talking about. It's an old ELF brush. You can see I still have silver foiling. Or no, it's not ELF. It's Sonia Kashuk. Yeah. And I cut it at an angle. And I just use it. So I'm just going to use it to rough up the edges that aren't sticking to the sizing, and it's going to fall back into my little container here. Sometimes you have to come at it at a weird angle to make sure it breaks where it's supposed to break. And that's why I use this brush, because it's like just stiff enough that it will do that, but it's not so stiff that it will damage the foil. It will scratch the foil on the top, but I don't really care about that, because most of this is like, I'm not looking for it to be like, you know, some people will cover their furniture in that and they want it to be flat and reflective, but I want it to be textured and really reflect the light in every angle of light possible. And so if it is crunchy and stuff like that, it looks better. Okay, so here's this now, so you can see what it looks like. I think this is looking really nice so far. And let's see here. I want to add some to it. I don't want to go too far with it. So let's bring in some Bombay White India ink. I'm going to just shake it up a little bit. And I think what I'll do is, this one I think has this little plunger messed up, so I can't like squeeze it while I do it. But maybe I'll just kind of like draw these lines like this into some of these shapes, and maybe same here, but I don't really want to cover that spot, so I'm going to be very sparing in that area. And this one I won't connect just because I don't need to. There we go. All right, so what are we thinking? Might add some here too. All right, I want to take a little bit of a vote. Do we think there's enough gold foil, or do we need to add more? And in order to help you make that decision, I'm going to bring it in a little closer and kind of do this to show you where the gold foil is, where it's reflecting. What do you all think? Leave me a comment and let me know if you think we need to bring in some more gold foil. Thank you, Ladybug. Yeah, this is one of those times where like I'm very hesitant to move forward with anything because it's in a really good place. And I mentioned this earlier this week in another live where it's like, normally I would be like, yeah, let's just move forward with whatever, because you don't know if, let's see here, My Tears, Rico K. I love My Tears Ricochet. It's such a good song. Don't touch. I'm glad it stopped you in your tracks. It looks great as it is. I like the gold foil as is. Looks great. Thank you so much, everybody. It's also kind of cool that something so simple can be um, so intriguing to look at. And, when I set out to do this, the whole idea was to create something ethereal. So I hope it comes across that way. All right. The people have spoken. They do not want it touched. So we're going to leave it as is. But there comes a point, and you know what? Let me see. Let me grab what we did last Sunday. And you all are going to appreciate this because last Sunday I created something that I ruined, and it was live. And this was that thing. And what happens is you get to a point where you're not sure, just like this, and you're like, oh, I love blah, blah, blah. Let's see here. Maki the Frenchie says, they look like artistic giant coffee mug stains, which I love. Yes, I love it too. So I created this and it looked really cool until I went overboard on the gold foil. And now it just looks like a mess. Now I still enjoyed the process and I loved it, but I hate the result. And, normally I get to a point where I'm like, okay, this could be good enough, but I still feel like it's missing something and I should just push forward because I'll never know if I don't. And yeah, I could ruin it and it is what it is. It's not going to be like my favorite thing ever, but let's just try it. But then you look at this and you're like, this could be my favorite thing ever. And then you're like, should I do something or should I not? So it sounds like the people have spoken. So we will not. Okay, I'm getting a co-host invite from PG Titty. You really think I'm going to let you co-host my video? Nope. PG Titty. So anyway, this was the very first one we did. It was a learning opportunity, of course, and I wish that I didn't wreck it, but I did, and I wrecked it live for you guys. So, it is what it is. But then you can do something like this and you can learn from it and realize, hey, you know what? This is a good stopping point. Now, in looking at it, I do think that maybe I would like a little bit more splatter in these areas, like some small splatters from a small brush, like where is my little brush? Like, not that one. Maybe something from a small brush like this. Maybe. What do you all think? Should I? But at the end of the day, this also looks really good and I'm happy with it. So, and sometimes it also helps to just prop it up and look at it on your wall and see what happens. And if you like it, then you're good. So I think the only thing throwing me off is that because there's so much white here and there's so much white here, and this area is kind of light, I feel like maybe it just needs some more splatter to kind of balance it out. But I also don't want to screw it up. And sometimes it's better to just not screw it up. But I also don't think splatter would really do that. All right, we're going to splatter it. We're going to splatter it, everybody. Wish me luck. I'm only going to do a little bit, though. We're just going to put it on the tip of the brush. I'm going to splatter it off to the side first. And that wasn't enough. Let me try again. Just little tiny splatters. Okay. I think I did it. I think we're good. All right. There we go. Okay. So I have one more favor to ask you. If you're still watching, I would love for you to share this video or give it a heart. And I just want to say thank you again for spending this time with me this evening. I've really enjoyed getting to share with you and open up with you and just share this experience. And I hope that you've enjoyed it. I'd love to take any questions you might have if you have any questions right now. And yeah, I just really enjoy getting to talk to you. And really just have this kind of camaraderie between us. And, I was really nervous when I first started doing these last weekend because I wasn't sure what kind of comments I would be getting. Like some people can be really nasty on the internet. And I have thankfully been raised to have pretty thick skin. So I can usually handle some nasty comments. But, for the most part, I feel like a lot of people don't put themselves out there because they're afraid of what the internet will say. And I have not had a negative experience yet. And so I just want to say thank you so much for being so kind and embracing and wonderful on these videos that I've been doing. It really, really, really means the world to me and makes me feel so welcomed and appreciated. And I hope that you learned something from it. And if nothing else, then you just found some time to just have some meditative quiet time. So if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. I'll wait about another minute. Otherwise, after that, I will log off for the evening. Like I said, I will be trying to get those replays up and going on my website. I was working on it earlier today. I'm hoping to have it done within a couple of days. So that way you all can watch the replays anytime. And yeah. Does anybody have any questions for me before I sign off for the night? Ladybug says this came out very beautiful in its simplicity. Thank you so much. I agree. I'm very happy with it. Give you one more shimmer. Yeah. All right, everybody. That is a wrap for this wonderful Saturday night. I hope that you all enjoy the rest of your evening and have a great Sunday. And I will definitely be here on Monday morning, again, probably between 8:30, 8:40-ish. So I will see you